In 1972, the United Nations General Assembly issued a proclamation stating that 1975 would be the International Women's Year. We're all getting caught up in the second wave feminism, and lots of attention is being given to women and women's role in society at large. So the UN issues this proclamation. Followed shortly thereafter by Gerald Ford, then president in 1975, stating we need to convene a national commission on the observance of International Women's Year. So more attention. Again, what would this body do? They would look at inequities still existing in our society. Women in the workplace, childcare, women minorities, credit, insurance, taxes, lots of issues that women still had to address. So you have International Women's Year, followed again by a proclamation that not only is 1975 going to be the year of the women, but let's make it the decade of the women. So the UN then issued another proclamation, 1975 to 1985 would then be deemed as the decade of the women. So we're all on board the wave here, catching the energy that is, emanating across the nation. So we convened this National Commission for the observance of National Women's Year. Followed shortly thereafter by New York Congresswoman Bella Abzug and others authoring legislation that became known as Public Bill 94-147, I believe, or 167, public law. This law appropriated $5 million for the states and territories to convene a women's conference. So how can we find out what's happening about women's lives across the nation if we don't study it in each state, in each territory? And then after each state or territory convenes their women's conference, they will also elect delegates to attend a national women's conference later that year. The year was 1977. And so across the nation, coordinating committees were formed, and in Nevada as well. Jean Ford headed it up, assisted by Frankie Sue Del Papa, a young attorney who would later go on to become our Attorney General and Secretary of State, becoming very active politically, capital P, in elected office. But she started with politics, the little p, outside the elected office. So Frankie Sue, Jean Ford start heading up this coordinating committee on how do we pull together a state conference. Who should partake in it? We have a mixture of women, and we need to make sure that all views are represented. Now, this is in the midst of the ERA battle. And again, there is strong pushback by the Mormon Church, the Stop ERA activists, who very much want their concerns voiced in a statewide conference. So rather than agitate opposition, Jean Ford decided to circumvent it by meeting with the Senate Majority Leader, James Gibson, who himself was a Mormon and in opposition of the ERA. She met with him, explained that they are coordinating a women's conference, and they wanted members of the Mormon Church to feel welcome and involved and able to voice their concerns. So Mormon women were invited to be a part of it. The Mormon choir, women's choir, was invited to sing at the conference. So Jean Ford really tried to extend a welcoming gesture to oppositional groups. In the end, there were about 1,400 people who attended the conference that was held in Las Vegas in June of 1977. Such notable people as Gloria Steinem spoke at one of the luncheons. It was a good turnout. There was a definite anti-ERA presence, but again, very wisely so. There are many issues facing women. It wasn't merely the passage of the ERA, and Jean Ford very wisely did not want to focus on the ERA. So she did not. Was it an issue that was discussed? Yes, it was. Part of the conference, again, was to elect the delegation to go to Houston in November of 1977. And there were enough pro-ERA advocates attending that they comprised the majority of the delegates who later did go to Houston in November. There were some alternate delegates who were against the ERA. Janine Hansen was one, Assemblywoman Karen Hayes, who did go to Houston as alternates and did their best to unravel the ERA ratification later on.